So I got out of prison after I recidivated, did my 10 months, got out. Michele and I got married shortly after that. Could not get a job. Could not. But I knew, by God, I don't want to go back to a life of crime. So how did I respond to that? How did I help change my life? I took action. And the way I took action was, I went through this thing called cognitive behavioral therapy while in prison. Thoughts cause your feelings. Feelings create actions. If you change your thought process, the actions change at the end of the day. That's a very simple concept. It's not something that you have to believe, but here's what happened with me. I was the guy who took to heart this concept of fake it till you make it. So they teach you in this therapy, in the RDAP program, the CBT program, they teach you that you need a support group, a safety net of people that you can count on, that will support you when you need to and call bullshit on you when you need that as well. I didn't have that. I mean, I had my wife, I had my stepsons, but, their family, are they really a safety net or a support group like you need? No, you probably need peers that, will call your ass out when you need it. I didn't have that. And I'm not the guy, I have never been the guy that bows down to peer pressure of any type. So what I did is I fabricated this support group. I went to LinkedIn and I connected with every single law enforcement official that I possibly could, kind of forming a safety net of my own. They didn't know who I was other than I was a criminal, but I did know, because my LinkedIn profile mentioned I was this U.S. most wanted guy, that I was a criminal, that I was this ne'er-do-well. I knew that every single law enforcement person that connected with me would be keeping an eye on my ass. I absolutely knew that. I also reached out to the FBI. Hey, can I do anything for you? Can we talk? Can we work together? Can I start pointing things out to you? So I established a relationship with that, knowing that also led into that. Then I reached out to cybersecurity people, fraud analysts, all these other people, and created this safety group, support network of people who would keep my ass in check. So I was faking it until you make it, is what I was doing, knowing that if I strayed at all, somebody was going to call my ass out, and that was going to be it. So that's how it started, was like that. And I was telling that woman today, it stayed like that. I was in that fake it till you make it mode. It became reality during the pandemic. Because I was constantly worried that I was going to go back and commit crime, that, it's Brett, I was going to go back to it. During the pandemic is when that really became a reality for me. Is I was losing my speaking gigs, my consulting gigs, everything. The economy was going to shit. And at that point, I was really worried that I was going to go back and commit crime. So what I for the first time in my life, I actually voiced that fear, first to my family, and then to that support group that I had built on LinkedIn. I posted about it. Anybody that would call me, and I had a lot of people that used to call and ask for advice and everything else. Anybody that would call me, I'd mention it to them. Hey, man, I'm scared. I'm going to go back and commit crime. Those FBI contacts I had, man, I'm scared about that. So this idea of faking it till you making it, this kind of fabricated support group that I had became my real support group at that point in time. And by God, they were there every single day, not calling me out on bullshit, but just there saying, hey, are you okay? What can we do for you? Is everything all right? Just calling to check on you. Let's have lunch. That's what happened. What I'm getting at is overcoming that childhood. Yes, the childhood has a part in resulting in who you are as an adult, either positive or negative. Me, negative. Now it comes a positive later on. But how do you overcome that negative, the negative aspects of the childhood? I think that you have to have that catalyst that forces the change, because you're not going to change anything unless something forces you to do that. Fear of loss, something like that. Okay, it's got to be a realization. It's got to make you want to change. Once that catalyst comes into play, you have to make the active decision to follow the path of not least resistance, but most resistance, because it's that unknown path. It's that rocky road that's not been tread before in your lifetime or in my lifetime, but you choose that every single day. In all these interviews I've given, whether it's Al Tucker or Megyn Kelly or Friedman or Peterson, I've not really come out and said it like that. But I think that that's the takeaway at the end of the day. And honestly, a lot of this that I'm talking about right now comes from that friggin' phone call that I had today. And you're going to get to meet her on this show. But I told her that, I'm not the guy that likes the idea of admitting that childhood absolutely informs some of my future. But it does. It absolutely does. Now, that's not an excuse. That's just the truth. But the realization of that has to cause or bring on the conversation of how does one overcome those things. And I think that's a lot of what I've been getting at throughout my show, especially with the Jordan Peterson thing, where he's talking is understanding that, yes, that childhood does cause things to happen in your future, but you can overcome that. And that's one of the things with these comments. 99% of the comments are positive, but a lot of the negative comments have this theme on there of once a criminal, always a criminal. That seems to be almost confined to Western ideology, that whoever that person is that person throughout that person's life arc. That is not true. We're very good about cataloging people as specific things, and they're always that person. We really need to get to the point, not just talking about myself, but society as a whole, we need to get to the point where we understand that, hey, people can change. There was a guy back couple of thousand years ago that was all about accepting that people could change. Now, they nailed him to a tree way back then. But there's countless stories in that book that he's in that talks about how people can change. There's this guy named Saul of Tarsus, and he was on a road to Damascus. Well, he was going to go persecute and kill a lot of this guy's followers. And there was none worse than Saul. Yet Saul changed, and he became one of the top adherents of that faith. For some reason, we've forgotten, or we've lost that idea or acceptance that people can change. Now, most people, like I said, 99% of the comments there, they're outstanding. And I'm very appreciative for the kindness that has been shown to me, because I don't think I deserve that. The 1% that's out there, though, you're always a criminal. Yeah, I'll grant you, I'm a criminal. I'm a criminal. I choose not to break the law, but I'm a criminal. But that doesn't mean that I'm always the guy who commits crime or victimizes people. I can change that. And I've chosen to change that. And it's not just me, but we have to get to the point where we're understanding that people can make a decision and be better than they've been. We can be better as a whole than we've been. And the only thing that stops that is the choices. Okay? I'm going to end on that, because I think that's a good point to end on. We can be better than we've been, and we have to be able to accept that people can be better than they've been.